yes, we are live. How you guys doing today? This is Magic Mondays, and welcome. I'm your host, Neil D'Souza, of course, from Ontario Private Mortgages and host of the Leadership to Wealth podcast. But guys, we are ready to jam with you guys today. Now, of course, you know, I don't do this alone. I've got some, our illustrious, he's not here today. He's not here, the illustrious Jason Vaz, but he will be back with us next week. Don't worry, he does not have COVID, but that we know of. But of course, my wingman, as usual, Marlon. Yeah, man.
Marlon Mortgages in the house, everyone. How you doing?
Good to have you aboard, Marlon. Like, you know, great weekend. Everyone's enjoying it. You getting the last bit of summers. For those of you that have kids, you know, get it all in. But Marlon, I got to ask you. I know. You know, last week we were talking about, but just before we get into talking about our show today, last week we were talking about flipping. And can you share anything that you got from that?
Yeah, I mean, Diana was a great guest. I mean, flipping, you know, I didn't think it was, you know, a lot of people make it sound easy, right? But, you know, obviously she told us it takes a lot of teamwork. I got to work with the right partners, and, you know, it's always not a winning proposition. It's one of those things that, you know, if you don't have a mentor or someone to go around, you kind of fail forward. But I would love to hear a little bit more. You know, some feedback I got from some of my viewers is that they want to hear some more nitty gritty details about flipping. So, you know, I'm sure we're going to bring on some other guests to talk about that, maybe Diana again. But yeah, flipping is not an easy game. It's not easy as it sounds, and it can be very risky. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciated that she literally put it out there and said it's literally one of the riskiest, you know, investment propositions out there, opportunities out there, and whereas a lot of people try to make it really simple, and so I appreciated her talking about that. I know one of the things that I got from her was the importance in building your list of suppliers, because, for instance, during the pandemic, when everyone was trying to, well, we're still in the pandemic, but when everyone was trying to get stuff from Home Depot and Lowe's and all that kind of stuff, she was like, oh, I had some suppliers off to the side. Yeah. So I was able to still get product. And I thought, oh, that's amazing. Because I'll tell you, I actually waited, oh gosh, eight months to get a refrigerator for one of my apartment units.
Well, you know, kudos to her, right? That comes with experience, right? So, I mean, you know, obviously not everyone would know to have multiple suppliers. They just kind of find one that they refer to. So,
yeah, that's right. Okay, well, that's great. Now, so we're also gonna actually, guys, just a quick note. Not this week. Next week, we're going to do a special piece about where we're going to actually talk about the current upcoming election. We're going to talk about some of the platforms that each of the parties have as it relates to real estate. So we're going to try to do a short piece. We're not going to try to make any judgments on any party specifically, but rather just talk about some of the platforms that they've brought forward with regards to real estate. Any thoughts on that, Marlon?
I think it's very interesting, actually. There's some very interesting propositions by all the parties. You can definitely tell that housing's a hot issue for this election. You know, once we go over them, I think some of the plans are good. I mean, and then there's some other suggestions, which to me don't make any sense because I just don't think they're executable, but they're just fluff. But we'll save that for next week's episode.
Yes. Yeah. And I'll tell you this piece. How I vote is actually not necessarily the party that is best for me, because there are certain parties that, you know, what they're going to talk about, and a lot of people will love voting for them, but they're not necessarily best for the economy. And so for people that are looking from an investing standpoint, if some of those parties get into power, it's actually better, because you know, they literally are going to tell you how they're going to spend investment dollars. So maybe we'll talk about that another time, and talk about how the government literally tells you where to invest your money, because they tell you where they're going to do it. But yeah, we'll get around to that one. So our guest today, I've known him for a number of years. Now, our topic today is going to be a little bit interesting because we're going to talk about how design and designers are affecting our investment dollars. We're definitely going to talk about how it's happening specifically in the world of crypto, but how it's affecting all of us, right? Um, and it's happening subtly. And he is a design consultant. He's also the host of the Elevate podcast. Really interesting talking. They've talked about a number of different issues. One of the issues, if you check out the Elevate podcast, that they talk about recently is some of the manipulation in the rental market. So, really found that interesting. But some people say that he's the most electrifying piece of white chocolate. Let's bring on today Josh Udall. Josh.
Hey.
What's up,
Man, I'm
Josh?
glad you kept that in the notes. I was personally pumped about that. So
Yeah, I mean, I've never eaten a piece of electrifying chocolate, but in this case, I don't really want to find out. But hey, glad to have you on board.
I mean, it's life changing, man. It may not be for the better, but it's life changing. So
it elevates you
higher. We love it every time.
So, Josh, okay, here you're about to talk to us about how user experience, how designers, how all this kind of stuff relates to real estate, how it relates to investing. And I got to be honest, most of us don't even know what user experience and designers even do. So I know you're going to share with us and give us a little bit of a breakdown, a bit of a presentation, but before you get in, will that be covered in that, or do you want to give us a bit of a breakdown before that?
Yeah, I'm looking to cover all the nitty gritty as much as I
Ooh.
can, and any questions
Okay.
come up, stop me at any point. But yeah, I'm trying to go from small ideas to bigger ideas through this presentation. So
yeah. Well, one of the things that you mentioned when we were talking about coming on the show was you were really talking about how designers through user experience are swallowing up the world, I believe is the term that you used.
Yes. Was that, sorry, you skipped out for 2 seconds there. What was the term you said there?
Oh, I was saying you were talking about how user experience and designers are, through what they're doing, literally are swallowing the world.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that was not necessarily what I meant, but I get what you're saying. Like they're helping new technology swallow the old world of investing is more so what's going on. Mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
All right. Well, listen, come on, teach us a little bit about what designers are, user experience, and how this is impacting us.
For sure. Absolutely. Well, thank you again for having me on the show. Again, my name is Josh, and I really do love user experience design. I'm super passionate about it, but I'm also very passionate about investing as well. I'm definitely like many people who are new to investing. Definitely wasn't trained in it by any stretch of the imagination, but my desire for it really got me well versed in it in some ways. But user experience design, if we want to get down to the nitty gritty of the definition of user experience design, is user experience encompasses all aspects of an end user or end customer's interaction with a company, its services, and its products. So, for example, user experience design has been around since the dawn of time. It's actually the technology revolution that brought it to the mainstream because companies like Apple, Disney, and Tesla invested so much into it, and people saw the difference it made to their bottom lines. So, for example, I had a colleague of mine who was actually able to come on our show, the Elevate podcast, at one point to talk user experience design. His name's Jared Spool, and he's like the father, the grandfather of user experience design. He's been around a long time.
He's like the grand poobah.
Yeah, straight up, man. He's like a man of immense knowledge, and he was able to come on and talk about because he actually he led the design team that designed the Disney Magic band bracelet that they use in their parks.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so the whole thing about Disney is like they do that thing called we need to everything we design, everything we do, it needs to have Disney magic. And so what they did with this Disney bracelet was you essentially would wear the bracelet and you would get on your flight. And the whole goal that they had in mind was your experience with Disney and its parks doesn't start when you get into the park. It starts when you book your trip. That's when the experience begins. And these are the types of things that user experience designers look at, is the whole realm that a customer or a user interacts with. And so what they did is you book it as soon as you book your flight, they mail you a bracelet in the mail. You get it, and they specifically ask, do not put it in your luggage. Make sure you wear it. And so you get on your plane, you land. As soon as you land, you never see your bags. Your bags are gone. You get there, you're met with a shuttle. You hop on the shuttle, and it takes you to your room. Your bags are already in your room. How do they do that? We don't know. It's all behind the scenes, but it makes for a seamless, amazing user experience and making it a fun experience for them. So that's kind of what we all get into when it comes to user experience design, is just, it's not just what things look like on a screen and making things look beautiful and all the graphics that we get obsessed with. It's so much more than that. So that's kind of, before we kind of get into it, that's kind of what I want to set up user experience as. But the question people must be asking themselves is, how is design related to investing? That's what we really want to get into today. So there's a title that we brought up. If I don't know if the presentation's up and people are seeing it at all, but we're dealing with designer dreams, investor romance, and real estate nightmares. And so I really want to work backwards on that title. How is design, all these things, creating real estate nightmares? I'm going to be sharing a lot of anecdotal evidence. I don't have any stats or facts, but what I'm hearing from experience from real estate investors right now is that they're starting to move a lot of their asset money from real estate into cryptocurrency at this moment in time. They're pulling their earnings from those assets and putting it in. So to get into crypto, and the tech behind the topic is for a whole other show. But a general sentiment is getting out about crypto, which is sending returns into the stratosphere right now. I was talking to an older friend of mine the other day, who's done very well for themselves, has a great job and all these different things. I asked him, how do you make money? How do you do it? What are you doing? And their advice to me was to invest in blue chip stocks, keep funding the RSP. And they were expressing excitement because they received a 30% return over the last 20 years. And which can be exciting, because anytime you make money is awesome. But 30% return over 20 years, I mean, it's hard to get excited about that when you kind of learn what's happening in crypto currently. The reality is, in crypto, I've made a 45% return on my investment in the past 6 months, and it's continuing to climb, which wouldn't have been possible in the traditional markets and wouldn't be possible in real estate, no matter how booming the market is. We're seeing a lot of crazy stuff happen right now, as had a guest last week about flipping houses. I'm curious what those returns look like when even the best flip of your life, are you getting back that type of return? I'm curious. I could be wrong. I'm not a professional in real estate investing, but from what I've seen, that isn't a traditional thing. So the reason I share that story is to frame the conversation of why excitement around crypto investing is picking up. Where is this investor romance coming from? There's only one major problem. The amount of people in crypto is very, very small. Right now, you have a lot of institutional investors that are starting to get in, like JP Morgan, BlackRock, these types of places. But my favorite part about them was they were just flooding crypto for the longest time because they're trying to keep the prices as low as possible so all their buddies can keep buying it up. And let's be honest, if we had that power, we'd be pulling those gangster moves too. Sorry, I'm just losing myself here.
You haven't lost me. You got me so far.
I've lost the connection there.
I'm ready to start talking smack about crypto, but yeah, go for it.
Please. I'm ready for it. So how do these smaller crypto products right now, how do those smaller projects and currencies continue to campaign and get people to purchase and essentially invest in their tokens and projects? Because again, it is small. There are some people who are getting in and starting to build it up, but there's still so many people. There's so many projects. There's thousands of projects right now. What are they going to do? How are they going to attract those investment dollars to their project? Well, they need to increase the amount of people they have, but there's a wall currently. The wall is the lack of education and understanding around what the heck the blockchain is. Because I truly believe anyone who gets their head around what the technology is, it will, as I said earlier, will leave the old world in the dust and go full throttle into the new world. For example, I'm seeing situations online right now where people are looking to sell and exchange their real estate properties for non-fungible tokens, digital assets. That they're not sell, they're looking to trade these things. That's the craziness going on in terms of, at least it relates to real estate.
Talking about craziness like that, I have there are places where you can buy real estate on blockchain, not the real estate,
Yeah.
but rather the NFT of a piece of real estate, and people are putting real money into it to buy that. And I mean, that's a whole. You know, you're gonna have to talk some more about this, because honestly, I'm wondering why people are doing that. Please help us out some more.
Yeah, well, it's only spicing up more. You have Tom Brady that just released his NFT. You have Wayne Gretzky that released his own NFT, all with this company called Autograph.
Right.
People, it's starting to get mainstream adoption. That's what's going on, right? And so it's, you have Gary Vaynerchuk, who released his batch of NFTs. And it was actually, that's one of the situations that caught my eye. Like, one of his NFTs, they sold for like 1 Ethereum. A lot of them sold for 1 Ethereum, which would get you like registration for 3 years into his conference, and then time with him one-on-one. 1 Ethereum at the time was going for about 2,500 USD. Now those NFT tokens are going closer to $35,000, $38,000, $40,000, which is just incredible how that's just blossoming for him in that issue. So with all that kind of going on, there's a lot of opportunity in the market that these crypto companies are seeing, that they said, hey, the people are starting to come in, but how do we get more people coming in? Because only less than 1% of the world is investing in crypto right now. So there's so much untapped potential going on. And so that's the race to the best, is these crypto companies are looking for ways to translate the abilities of the blockchain, and what their goal is trying to achieve by using blockchain, and show why it's such a good option. And this is where design comes in. Crypto companies are hiring UX right now. No word of a lie. Crypto companies are hiring UX designers in droves right now. They are looking for the skill set of people who can translate the ones and the O's of the blockchain into an easy to use interface that helps people and understand the tech. Why? Could I get you to move like 3 slides down? One more. Actually, one more. Sorry about that. Perfect. That's, when we talk about blockchain technology, that's what people imagine. There's a lot going on there. It's really hard to understand. And that is the goal of a designer, is to simplify the technology and make it usable for the everyday person. It's been our job since the beginning to take complex problems or ideas and simplify them so that everyone can use them. I'll ask you this question. Do you know how to get multiple computers, Neil, to talk to each other so that an 8x8x8 box can take you up 10 stories in the air?
I'm sorry. Can you rephrase the question?
For sure. Do you?
No, I'm saying you lost me at the question. Never mind the answer.
We love it, but that's the thing, is that that's the point. Like, I don't know how to get computers to talk to each other so I can move up an elevator shaft, but I know how to hit a button that will do it for me.
Okay.
That is an example of user experience design in action. They took a really complicated tech and turned it into a panel of 10, 12 buttons, depending on the story size, so that you can do and complete an action.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's kind of what's going on, and that is why crypto companies are hiring UX designers in droves. Because at this point in time, if you go one more slide there, this is some stats I got from MSNBC. The top 5 positions hired in 2020 were for blockchain, cloud computing, analytical reasoning, artificial intelligence, and then UX design was 5th. You realize the 4 out of those 5 are ridiculously off the scale. Like, people are really smart, need to be really smart to solve those issues.
Yeah.
The next thing they're hiring for is, we need people to translate these problems to real people so we can sell it.
Right. Okay. Okay. So I get that. You've got they're hiring designers, UX designers, to be able to translate, really something that is extremely complex. And that makes sense, because, we're still trying to wrap our minds around blockchain, cloud computing, what's machine learning, how's all this stuff going to impact us? Literally, I was having this conversation with someone yesterday talking about how we can use some of these technologies even in real estate. So you got me so far. I get it that they're trying to get it to translate to the end user, to me and Marlon. But so tell me, what are they doing to be able to soak up our investment dollars?
So that's the thing, is you're having a lot of these smaller, what they would call tokens, or crypto companies. So you have like the cryptocurrencies, you have Bitcoins, the Ethereums of the world. Those are just kind of, at least for Ethereum's perspective, that's just the railroad track. That would be essentially the internet. Consider Ethereum the internet, always way back then. And then you had things like Spotify, Shopify, who built businesses, Amazon, built businesses off of the internet and grew.
Yep.
And that's what's happening right now. You have these companies that are building businesses off of Ethereum and growing. And so they're kind of attacking all kinds of different business propositions. And so they're looking for, if you buy our token, you'll be able to accomplish X, Y, and Z things. And so that's kind of what's happening with the NFTs, for example. That is, NFTs are built off of Ethereum. People are now in the auction place. And so that's where UX designers are being needed. Is how can we use these applications? How can I, be able to sell? For example, I'm looking forward personally to the point where I can make deals in real estate on Ethereum. Because right now, let's take this back to real estate, and you guys can speak to this. The user experience when it comes to trying to buy a property sucks because of all the government red tape. Crypto.
Okay. You got me. Yeah.
Crypto, Ethereum, is looking to eliminate a lot of that red tape. And it's going to be interesting what happens. I can't speak totally to everything because I'm still studying it out all myself. But it's getting to the point when we have things like smart contracts, where as soon as certain things of the smart contract are achieved, the transaction takes place. Rather than, I've seen your videos, Neil, where it's like, oh man, the banks couldn't do the deal, but we got it done for you in an afternoon, and I get it. I've been through the process of purchasing properties myself. Yeah. It's obnoxious. But these are the things that crypto's looking to solve. So if we can start creating applications that people can use and make it easy, it's going to really drive investment dollars into these platforms and into these tokens. So
yeah. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I can, okay. How do I say this? I would say that absolutely all of these things can be beneficial, especially in the world of real estate, in the world of investing on this stuff, smart contracts, all of these things. Absolutely. They can be beneficial. They can help save us from, you're right, a world of government red tape. And there's so much transparency there that it makes it available for people to know everything that's going on, who owns it, how it all happened. It allows a lot of connection that way and transparency, as I mentioned. Mm-hmm. But part of me is looking at it and going, I don't see why the governments of the world, different governments, whether it's Canada, whether it's the States, why in the world would they even entertain allowing these things to overtake certain industries that they control? I mean, countries have gone to war for less.
Yeah, and I don't think it's just even the government. I think it's the real challenge is the big banks, right? So real estate business is a big chunk of change for the big banks, right? I don't know if you've ever seen Grant Cardone's video, right? He said, homes and mortgages were invented by the banks. You know, in order to put people in debt and to make money, right? And there is some truth to that, to a certain extent. The home was, I guess, a user experience. When I think about what, Josh is saying, maybe they said, how can we get to lend money out? We've got to convince people of the American dream to buy a home. And I thought, wow, that's actually very creative. But there is probably some truth to that, right? And so, I think not only government's going to be challenged, I think it's the big banks that are going to make a big push against this stuff, or unless they can get a piece of the pie, obviously, then, we'll see this all come to fruition sooner than later.
But I heard word on the street was China banned the internet, right? In their country.
Oh, there's someone banned, but you can hook it up through the VPN through the backend, which everyone does anyway there. So
Got it. Right. So that's what's happening right now with crypto is governments can do
Right.
whatever they want. They won't stop what's coming. It's all
Right.
decentralized. It's going around the government.
Mhm.
You have the issue right now with the SEC and XRP, which XRP is another cryptocurrency, that the SEC has taken to court. And this is news as of just yesterday. Huge news. I'm going to somewhat breaking, which I thought was incredible, is the SEC has taken XRP because they believe XRP is claimed to be securities. And there's like, you're duping the public. You can't be doing that. And we all know the SEC, they claim to be for the people, but they're not. They're lining their pockets, and you guys don't have to shake and agree. I'm just going to speak on my own here. But what happened is XRP Ripple is about to take this case. They're about to win it, and they've been in the courts for like 6 to 8 months now, and it's been going on forever. And the SEC just keeps prolonging the process. So Ripple turned around yesterday and filed a motion. There's like, we want to do an audit on all SEC employees and what they're holding in crypto and how much XRP they're holding.
Wow.
And the judge said, we're doing it. Let's go. And now that's the beauty of cryptocurrency is it's putting transparency on government, on people, and banks. And they are friggin' toast. Straight up. That's how it's going down.
Wow, that's crazy. That's exciting. It's pretty exciting. I didn't know that.
I'm sorry. Call me cynical. Call me. I'm like, I love what you're saying, what you're creating here. That transparency. The securities commissions, their job is really to protect the consumer. At the end of the day, their job, that's what their mandate is, to protect the consumer. The reality, that's their mandate. The reality is that they actually remove most of the consumer's opportunities by all of the legislation that they put in place, because the best investments are ones that most of the public aren't allowed access to, and which is why the old saying is true: rich get richer and the poor get poorer. That divide continues to widen, and so there's definitely something that needs to happen there. But intrinsically, if you have to physically make it illegal for your citizens to utilize certain things, I mean, right on the level of anything that you can think that's illegal, why not? You only need to because I used to work. Shouldn't say this. So with regards to taxation, they only need to really catch about 5% of what's actually happening, because that 5% will act as a deterrent for 95% of people. So really, you only need to nail to the wall a small handful of people that are using something for the vast majority of people to say, forget it. I'm not going to mess with XRP or whatever it is, right? When people try to get around the system, decentralized or not.
I mean, I hear you. I get it. I'm just seeing we've just gone through 2020, now 2021 with COVID, and the theme has been establishment being taken down, whether it be news media, government, or in this case, big banks. When it came to Robinhood and all these types of things, right? The veil has been lifted, and the people are coming for the establishment, and that's what's happening right now. And it's all crumbling, and you have governments that are just, what we got to do. They don't know what they're doing. They've been caught with their pants down, and it's catching up to them, and I 100% believe that.
Okay, well, I'm going to say this here, and this is in line with history. Roughly every 50 years, we have a transition of the monetary system.
Right.
1971, we switched over from the gold standard to a floating U.S. dollar. And so we're right on the cusp of, that happening. That's been happening for forever, right? That there's been the switch keeps happening. So, a lot of people are even saying, hey, crypto, we're going to see a switch. Everyone's got their money here. and it just happens one day. Someone makes an announcement and it disappears, and it goes over in a different direction. So, there is some credence to what you're talking about without getting into any conspiracy theories.
Of course, yeah, and I'm not here trying to do that. I'm more so just seeing what I'm just witnessing. I'm just putting out what I'm witnessing right now.
Yeah.
And it would be foolish to say that it's a conspiracy theory, to say that there's things going on abroad that has the veil's been lifted when it comes to even just how you have all these investors on Wall Street who are trying to hoodwink a bunch of people, right? And now it looks like they're even getting stuck with AMC stock, right? So that's been a wild thing, right? So I get it. It's definitely a spicy time. But I've had numerous people come to me with the argument, well, what if the governments ban it? Governments trying to ban it just shows to me that they don't know what the technology they're dealing with. That's the issue.
Interesting.
Hey, I'm here. Tax me. I'm here. Whatever. We still live in a great country. I'll pay my fair share. But they don't even know how to do that yet. So
right. Yeah, absolutely. That's part of the issues there. So, Josh, I know there's a lot more details that we need to get into with regards to just how designers are doing that. We've run out of time, but I know that there's a lot there just in terms of what we see online. And unfortunately, we're not going to really get to cover that. But if people want to hear more of your white chocolate, electrifying white chocolate, where do they find the Elevate podcast?
You can find the Elevate podcast anywhere that podcasts are found. Elevate is spelled with an 8. So keep an eye out. We got some great new episodes every Monday. Always a good time. And we're also on TikTok as well. So check it there.
Love it. Well, thank you so much, Josh, for a scintillating conversation that I say bunk.
I like what you said, Josh. I like what you said.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
I love it. We'll see you guys next week on Magic Mondays. Take care.
See you guys.